Good morning, y'all. How we doing? Let's switch this to... Yeah, yep, exactly, Threlbro. All right, so I am playing with the idea of how to build something similar to resend or temporal, but a little bit more lightweight and a little bit more pluggable. Probably powered by Effect TS on the back side. So I'm just getting a feel for APIs here. Kind of like that. Yeah, I do kind of like that. So let's start from scratch and try to get to this. We don't really need to start from scratch, but I would like to do, what do I want to do here? This bit, I don't know how we're going to do that bit yet. So let's comment that. And then down here, let's just return void for now. And then this should become, what's up, y'all? You on a Mac? Yeah. I'm on a Mac. I didn't have any problems. Oryx just worked for me. Yeah, we gotta figure out how to do this input part. But I want this to become, let's say type step is going to equal a read-only, let's see here, object. And this is going to have a name, which is going to be a string. It's going to have an action, which is an action. And we'll have a compensation, which is a compensation. And then we need options, which step options. Whoa, that's not what we wanted. We'll say type step options step brother, and we'll come in here, and this is gonna have stuff like retries and stuff, but for now it can just be an empty type. So then this is going to take an array of steps, and you are going to be a step. Return that. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we'll refactor this example, right, to be something like that, right? I guess option should be optional. This is compensation. And this is action. And this is going to be name. Do something like that. And then same deal here. This is the name. This is the action. And this is the compensation. Okay. So the bit I really do want to figure out is how I can do something like this, right? Because let me just add this here, and we'll set this to any for now. And just return this. That's fine. So the input is basically what needs to get passed to run, and will be attached to the context. Because let's say the context has like private read-only. We'll say this has private read-only input, which is going to be some, we're going to need a T here. So this will be input, and that will be input. And this will take input, which will be that. And we'll say this dot input is equal to input. Which I guess we don't even need to do that, right? Because we can do private read-only input. And then we should be able to say, like, if we have a foo function, this dot input. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need that. Oh, today is wrong. Let me fix that. Command update today, and then I'm just going to copy the title. There we go. How are you doing today, Lambda? And we should set context. Do something like that. This song is a bop. So, whoops. Whoa. Imagine if I programmed like this. Dude, Nix is such a pain in the ass. I'm putting off starting a project because I don't want to write the Nix stuff. The font is Mona Lisa. Let's go to here and let's update this. And we're gonna have, let's say we have a type and it's going to be workflow definition input. This will be a read-only. This will have a theme, which will be a string. Maybe we don't need that. No, let's do it. Do that. And
functions describe the world.
Because I'm not super stoked with the options that are out there, Lambda. I like bits and pieces of them. Some of them are overkill, right? So we have restate. We have temporal. I don't like step functions. So the most likely I would use would be, and like honestly, I might power the back end of this with something like temporal or restate. I just don't fully, I don't completely love everything about these libraries. I kind of wanted them to be scoped or more opinionated in the user-facing API. So there's a good chance what I'm building will be a layer on top of like restate or temporal. I just don't, I'm not sure yet. What was your takeaway from that podcast, out of curiosity? Or could you even link that podcast? I've been thinking about this problem a lot because something I've run into basically at every company I've worked at and consulted at that has meaningfully sized TypeScript code bases is that something like sagas or a library like or a service like temporal or restate is like 100% needed because it's just too hard to build reliable services with TypeScript without them, especially when you're talking about having a series of microservices and all that. Restate sounds horribly complicated internally and designed for really gnarly use cases. Okay, that is a great red flag to hear. I just like both of these libraries use this pattern where this context gets passed around, and I'm assuming what happens under the covers is when you do context.run, is that must be writing something to like a write ahead log or some sort of log. I'm assuming that's what's happening. It like, perfect. And like, all of these still leave so much room for error. And that's kind of what I want to avoid. Like I don't want the durableness of actions or functions to be at like this context parameter level. I want it to be at the function level. I think some of these have interesting ideas, but I still don't feel completely great. Yeah, I think the context is useful, but like I don't yeah, I think it's too low level for what I'm shooting for, and I think it needs a level on top of it. Because both of these libraries do it. Blah 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 blah. Show me real code. Come on. I like getting some of this UI out of the samples. Here we go. Okay, fine. Background check and go. Oh, Jesus. My idea is basically just implement a very simple high-level saga pattern and power it with effect and just keep it simple stupid. Like do the saga pattern easy. Like obviously like sagas aren't perfect because especially because of like isolation, data isolation, but like that's a problem in all these services already anyways. I'm mostly trying to solve the problem of data reliability across multiple NoSQL data stores and third-party services. Give me some good examples here. I just want to see what this looks like. TypeScript SDK. I don't even want to deal with scheduled workflows. Like I don't need to go that far. I just want to be able to group up a bunch of functions and make sure they run safely in a distributed way. And effect has so much of this stuff built in. Yeah, no, I feel you, Lambda. The thing, what's really inspiring me to try to build what I'm wanting to build is a talk by, she's one of the chief technology advisors to the CEO of Microsoft now, Sagas. Where was this talk at? I'll find it. Oh, come on. What conference was that? Yeah, let's see if I can find it here. Right here, from Katie McCaffrey. A bunch of the ideas in this, and this is based on a white paper from like the 90s. She built a Saga system to power Halo back in the day at Microsoft, which I think is fucking sick. I'm gonna pause the music for a second, and we're gonna listen to this talk while we work. Can you guys hear this okay? What's up, Costa? Throw this on 1.5. She's very low. All right, 1 second. Is that better, Nightshade? Bit too loud, but good. How about now? Bueller? Yeah, that's Zod. So the premise with the input is that when you call workflow.run, you would pass it data that would be available on the context. So like this would be like user ID, some string, and then account ID. Let's just say that's also 123, right? Do 321. That's the idea of how I want to use Zod. I just haven't figured out how at the type level to get that to percolate down through. Yeah, the big downside to this pattern is isolation, data isolation, because, let's say you have some workflow that has like 6 steps and steps 1 through 4 have already completed and committed. That data is already there for other services to read, even if the full transaction isn't ready. But I think that's an okay trade-off. What's crazy is the woman giving this talk. I said it a couple seconds ago, but she's like the technical advisor to Satya. I don't know how to say his name. The CEO of Microsoft. We ended up ordering things so the easiest bits to unroll occur first.
Functions describe the world.
Yeah, see, like most of the things I'm doing have ordering. Hmm. So the one thing I want to figure out here at the type level is how I can get the type of this. Let's see if I can even just get a API where we take an input and we get it passed to like the next function. So let's play around with that in another file. So let's just say zod.ts. And we'll come in here and we'll say we have this. Let's go back real quick. That point, what she just said right here, this right here is everything. My biggest gripe with TypeScript is that TypeScript, especially TypeScript backend services, TypeScript makes it way too easy to only ever think about the happy path and design software around the happy path. And you can be very productive and very quick at building software and getting things running and having production services that scale forever and ever and ever. And you have a great DX doing it, but it's at the sacrifice of error handling, often telemetry. Yeah, I just fully believe a core value of mine is that TypeScript backend services are one of the hardest things to build reliably. And I don't think enough people like acknowledge that. Yeah, I think it's really, really hard to do node services reliably and correctly. Exactly, right there. That's the exact thing I'm going for. And that's kind of my problem with some of these, both temporal and temporal has a little bit better of an API. This is a little bit closer to what I'm going through. I just don't want all the overhead of this entire library up front. But like restate, like it still feels like I don't have it up anymore, but like you need to use that context object to get any sort of guarantees on error handling, and it still isn't like, yeah, I would rather the error handling be more in your face and you have to deal with it. Temporal is hard to operate. Okay, that's good to hear. Well, not good to hear, but that's a good data point. I think across the board, anything like this is going to be hard, but I am in seek of something to iterate on. Start simple. Yeah. So that we're gonna basically build this once we get some TypeScript shit out of the way. So let's say we get this input, right? And this is gonna be a Zod type, which I think a Zod type is a, yeah. And what is a Zod type def? Description. Okay, nothing too exciting there. Input equals output. Okay. So let's say we have we'll start with input and output. We'll let that be inferred, right? So this will be output Zod type def, and this will be input. And this is going to return, so if we come in here, let's say we have like our charge account schema. Let's just say that, right? So const charge account schema is going to equal a z.object we'll have our user ID, which will be a z.string, and then let's just say we have our account ID, and we'll say that's a string as well, and then we'll say an amount is going to be a z.int, z.number, sorry. What up, Fubar? Right, and then we can infer the schema from that. So let's say type charge account let's say this is just going to be input, and this is going to be z.infer type of charge account schema, right? And that should give us a pretty type there. Yep. I want to screenshot that right there. That's going to be important. Okay, so let's say we have, I don't know what to call this. We'll make a new foo. Okay. So that we got good inference there. We need some generic on the class, right? Yeah, that's an interesting thought. What happens if the SEC crashes? Okay, great. Compensating requests have to be idempotent. Yep. Pre-watch. Oh. There we go. All right, so let's say we have this const updated foo. Okay, there we go. We've got the state carrying through now. I don't know if we want never there, but this seems like it's working, right? Because if we do, say we have input here, and this is going to be our c dot infer. I think it would just be input, right? In fact, I don't even think we need an output here. Did I have this right before? No, I didn't. This is close to what I want, right? Because here we have all the fields. If I do like a number here, it's gonna be like, yo, number's not a, I'm close. We just got to figure out this bit right here. This is not assignable to foo output. We could do a cast. Type input is not assignable to type output. Interesting. So I think I can get rid of this, and we don't need to infer this anymore. I mean, you could do a new foo, which doesn't feel great. Maybe it doesn't even require Zod, right? Like maybe we just get rid of Zod and we just force the generic parameter to be all right. Let's get the music going again. I'm gonna have to turn down the music a bit. I tweeted about this recently, and Matt Pocock responded to me. Let me see if I can find this. Mm-hmm. Okay. The other way we could do this is you wouldn't even need Zod. Resonate. Interesting. Similar idea. It's the same thing. Same pattern. Await context. It's gonna be similar. I just don't want the durability at this context level. I want it to be higher level than that. Best framework for web development you recommend? That's a loaded language. Front end or back end, full stack. What part of the stack are you talking about, Gagard? I'm gonna go prepare another cup of coffee though, chat. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We got a fresh coffee. So good. Okay. For front end, sir, I would say Svelte. I really like Svelte and Svelte 5. All right. So the other option is that we just don't use Zod, which could be okay, right? What if we didn't use a class? No, we want a class. Like we could have, I mean, you could force that the generic. Like what does this look like? If we have const foo equals new foo.run. Expected 1 arguments but got none. What if we make that undefined? What is the right way to do this? Do we just function overload? I don't even know how to do, I don't. Yeah, but like I basically would want it if input is defined. How does, we were starting to look at this yesterday because there's a couple APIs that do this, like TRPC does this, right? Like, that's similar to the API I want right there. Which I think this is easier to do with an object than it might be with a class. So like if we had, let's just say this is, let's say we have a type handler, and then we'll have like an input. And then we'll have, no, that's not how we want it. Hmm. It'd be nice, like I like this API right here. Like this feels good.
Functions describe the world.
Delete that. That's not important anymore. Okay. No, we want that to keep that spaced. I don't know if we need the T yet. Hi, Winnie. I see you. Hello. Okay, so let's say this is gonna get. We just might need a cast here, and we can come back and possibly figure out the we can come back and figure out the types later. So let's just say we have an input. And we'll say this is going to be, let's just set it to equal to any to start. And this is going to be what we had in the last file. So this will be a Zod type. And this is going to have an output. Output. We'll have that. And we're going to return a workflow definition with, output. What's funny is yeah, okay. So we still have this problem. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. What does this want? What does workflow take? This takes a name. So we'll do this dot name and this dot steps. I mean, theoretically, if we ignore, you do like TS expect error for now. Import that. This is actually working. Right? It's going to be like, yo, you need to pass in an object that has an account ID. Let's say user ID will be 123. Account ID will be 321. Now it's happy. And we want to say, let's say we actually need an amount. So we'll say z.number. And now it's going to bitch. Yeah, that's exactly the experience we want right there. This will be amount. And we'll just say it's 10,000. Like, that's pretty good. That's what we want. It's funny because I don't do anything with the schema. The schema is literally just there to do the type system. Okay, so maybe we can work with this, right? Yeah, so the things we have in this file, we have a workflow definition, a context, and then the workflow's up top. So we have this workflow, and the workflow gets that generic parameter of input. Which the build function returns a new instance of a workflow. Although it still doesn't, hold on here. Hi, Winnie. Where are you? Function overloads. Can we do chat? Function overloads. Well, part of the problem here is this actually isn't safe, right? So this still has a problem because, like, let's say I came down here and I was just like, I added, I don't know, let's say foo bar. Oh, the input overrides that. Because if I comment this out, that's effectively the same thing, right? This is like, yo, we expect an object that has foobar on it. You forgot to specify a lifetime on foo? Yeah. See, down here, this should take no input. I don't know if, let's see here. Can you overload a TypeScript class function? Okay. Can we design it such that if there is a generic supplied to the class that is not undefined, such that to the class that is not undefined, the function requires an argument of that generic type. Otherwise, it takes no argument. T equals undefined. I don't believe you. I think TypeScript is lying to us right here.
Does this look okay? Hey,
Looks good.
looks cute.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not gonna wear the slippers, but
Yeah, see, that doesn't cause a compile time error. It'd be great to have like a
Baxter, come eat. Eat your food.
the type remains the same, but the runtime arc can either be that type or missing. Yeah.
Okay, chat this morning is very important. Extra dogs to steal said food.
Yeah, chat. If you see any other dog eating from this bowl right here, that's not the tiny black dog.
Yeah.
Make some noise.
Perfect. I
am interested in how TRPC does this. I think it's because they're using an object, though, and not a class.
I don't have a meeting until 9. I'm going in late.
This is not true. I still don't think that's true. Yeah, see, it's still good. Just returns never. The other option is if we did this without classes, it might work a little bit better. I mean, this isn't the worst, right? Because, like, this technically works. You want the arg optional if the generic is provided only. Well, I either want no argument if there's no generic, or the argument is mandatory. Yeah, exactly, Ramus. Exactly. Because we could do, let's say we did this. Yeah, then you can have that from the generic stuff, just union with null or undefined. Well, that's what I thought, right? So if we make this undefined. So there it says run input, right? So if we just delete all this, it expects one argument. I want to expect 0 arguments. Because if I pass undefined in, which is the same thing, right? We might be able to do this. Morning, Mr. Wizard. Like, this works reasonable now, right? So let's say we try this with a class, right? Let's say we have this function, create workflow definition, create workflow, right? And this is going to take some definition. And let's just say we declare this as a function for now, and we'll need a type for this. Say this is a workflow definition. Let's do this in another file. Obj.ts. Oh yeah, I fully anticipate getting into some type gymnastics here. So let's say we have a type workflow definition, and this is going to be some type, and this is one step back. So we'll have a type step. Actually, let's forget about steps right now. We'll have a type input. Input will be some function. This will be optional, right? And we'll have a input that should be able to get inferred if we do foo, or like, I don't know, we can do an underscore, and this will be input. And we'll just say this is going to return, I don't fucking know, workflow definition of input. And if we have, let's say, const x is going to be a workflow definition. And we'll just do equals any for now. And I think if we come in here and we say foo, say this is a string. Okay. That didn't infer it like I thought it would. The other thing is we could enforce that it's defined. Say input extends undefined. Then it'll be some function. It'll just be some function that returns. Dude, Elka.
Do you not like stairs or something? Hold on, I gotta grab something quick.
Baxter's not eating, by the way.
Baxter.
Stop barking. All right, out, Winnie. Come on, dog's out. Go. Sorry, chat. Let's say we have this, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a function that has input, and that will return void. And this is going to be foo input, right? This is similar to the type we want. And this will be undefined. Yes. Basically, if you've ever heard of the saga pattern, we're taking a bunch of ideas from this and building a simple, opinionated saga orchestrator type thing. And we're working on nailing down the API before we actually implement it. So now we can get rid of that, right? Let's rename this to input function, and we shouldn't need to do that, and this should be inferred as a string now, right? And if we get rid of this, this should be wrong now because it should take no, there's the type, right? That's the type we want. Okay. I have not heard. Yeah, Dax and I talked about this in DMs for a bit, actually. Male pattern bottomless. Got him. All right, so this is a useful type. So I think if we could come and we have some, rather than this taking a generic necessarily, let's say we have type I workflow, and that's going to have, I don't know, a run, which, let's go back. Cries of receding hairline. Okay, so this I workflow thing, which let's just say takes an input, and by default will be undefined. And then we have a run, which is going to be a run function of input. And then we can say that our workflow implements
Functions
I
describe
workflow
the world.
of some input, which we're going to have to add to the input equals undefined, right? Can you do something like this? And then what happens if we get rid of this? Still expects y, undefined. Why would that be happening? Oh, there's an error here. What happens if I ask this to implement the rest of the functions? Oh, I can initialize it. That's interesting. I don't think this is going to work either. This is an annoying problem. This is still the same kind of problem that these other libraries I don't like have. I don't like this context pattern. Same deal here. Pretty quickly, but I also got into the Ghosty Discord when it was really tiny. And there wasn't a ton of people there. So I was like in one of the really early beta waves. I've been using Ghosty since November. So how do we think this environment percolates? I'm assuming that this workflow step context has this on it. And like maybe this isn't the worst thing. I mean, it's still
Functions
what if it's
describe
like
the world.
what up, Tram? Let's scrap Zod again. Actually, let's just go back here. This is close. Maybe we don't have this input at all. And we just have that there. The other way we could do is we could make this an abstract class. This run function is just a pain in the ass. It's like I want to swap the implementation of run based on this type definition. Like, I really like this. Like, this feels good here. This here, we'll get our context, right? Like, if we do this, and we just do promise dot resolve, and then we want compensation. This also gets a context, and that should be type safe, hopefully. Yeah, so we have this context here, which is undefined because we're not giving this an input. I have an idea. Yeah, this might work. Add a layer of indirection here. So this is a run function, and we'll say run is going to be run function input, right? And then down here, why do I have this map in here? Don't need that. Rather than this returning that, we say this returns an I workflow.
I'm leaving. I love you.
Bye, have a good day. I don't know how to like conditionally implement this. This would be like, no. I thought this might work. This is such an annoying problem.
Functions describe the world.
Okay, now bye.
But well, that's not right. Oh, I hate TypeScript. I wish. That would be sick.
Functions describe the world.
Why always TypeScript? Because I unfortunately have to work in TypeScript, and I'm trying to make my life as good as possible having to work with TypeScript. 1 second. Oh, hi, Winnie. Okay. One does not simply quit TypeScripting. Yeah, exactly. I hate that I can't just like pass nothing here. This is such an annoying problem. All right, what's another approach here that we could take? A durable workflow would be like you have a bunch of steps. Why did this get stuck again? Run could also get a generic and create a constraint between an input. So you're saying that run would have some t, and t extends input. That still doesn't completely solve the problem though, right? Because like it still wants a single argument. We could do t extend. I don't think I can just put a type here. I can't. Because even if I did something like colon never, it's still going to expect. We don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of input. Down here, it still wants one argument, and it's like, it's never. But it's like, yo, number's not assignable to never. Sure, but like if it extends, where is this stupid thing at? T extends input or is it undefined? There we go. That means that this is going to be optional every time, right? Well, now that's coercing to unknown. And why is that going to unknown? Because we're not giving a generic to you. Yeah. I mean, even if we enforce that these had a generic, right? Like input. Down here, it's like, okay. This should require... Why did that not require an input? Shouldn't that require... I would have assumed this should bitch at us. Oh, it defaults to unknown. Annoying. What if we... The motivation behind this is that it's very hard to build reliable TypeScript services on the server. And especially when you get into the space of having multiple microservices in TypeScript and multiple data stores, especially when those data stores are NoSQL data stores without transactions. So I'm just playing around with an idea of a really lightweight thing to basically run distributed transactions using a saga pattern that puts the focus on the error path first rather than the happy path, because it's too easy to ignore the error path. Yeah, temporal and like temporal. I talked about this a bunch earlier with temporal and restate. It's that they like use this context pattern where the context is the thing that drives the durability rather than the function. Where like I want the context to essentially... I don't want that. I want the functions, like the action and the compensation, to be the bits that are like the lowest level primitive basically for durability. And I'm just trying to figure out how to get this stupid run function to take input or not. It's an annoying problem that I don't know if I can solve with TypeScript. Because if there's no input, I want to be able to call this with no function params. But if there is an input, I want it to take function params. Why is that such a hard thing to do in TypeScript? It feels like fundamentally so simple. It's flexible. Right now we were putting it as a generic possibly on the class. It's like I need to overload this at the class level, but it's still not right, right? So if I have like async run, promise void, and then we have async run, and then we have async run, which has input. Yeah, it has to have the same. It feels like it needs the same arity. Yeah, the Nix timer is close to working. I still have a problem with the volume mount on Fly.io, but I think I know how to fix it. I just don't want to spend time on stream fixing it. Winnie. Hey. Hey. No. You're out. No more. Go. Sorry the dogs are so barky. Maybe
Functions
workflows
describe
always have an
the
input.
world.
Yeah. So we have to enforce an arity of 1. So maybe we have this like type workflow input. And this would be like input, which is going to have some generic, right? And this will be input. And then I don't know what else would need to be on this. Well, here we could use that same. Just passing in an empty object would be real annoying. Let's go poke around at some other APIs. Does this look familiar? What would be a good API for this? Good API design is hard. I do like this bit here. Like this feels pretty good, right? What if we have like a what song was that? Rest. It's playing now. Is it too much to have one? It might have. I don't know. Try requesting another song sentient. Is it too much to have one run command with the input and one without? Like run with input. Well, like that wouldn't work because if there's an input defined, I mean, we could put it in the if we did this and we had like a Zod schema here. Something like this. Still adds it to the queue, but doesn't give the requested by. Try submitting it without the query param on it. I bet that's probably the problem. Like if I request, yeah, try making one without the query param, that SI on there. Weird. Well, that's interesting. This is actually not Tokyo Night. This is Cappuccino Macchiato. Can we kick it? Should be restarting. What? Okay. This is bizarre. All good, Sam. Spotify. Let's check. Is it having problems parsing this file? I don't know where it's having problems parsing JSON. So where would that happen? We have our song queue client. We read it in. I don't think I've made any changes to this. This only tries to read this at load time. This only writes this when it shuts down. What's crazy is I don't think I've touched this for a while. Like if we go look at GitHub, I don't know why this code would stop working. We can try deleting the do you see the possibility that effect is used in Vercel's codebase? Effect is already used in Vercel's codebase. There are at least 2 teams using effect that I know of in Vercel, including mine. Was it fly, volumes destroy? Yeah, get it gone. It's bound to a machine. Let's go into the fly tunnel and get rid of the mounts. I don't think that should really impact anything though. And we'll do that. I want to go look at my GitHub and look at the blame on this. So we know it had to break somewhere in here yesterday. So let's go. Did I make changes to any of these? Nix timer. I have no idea what that is. Toggle Nix timer, channel chat message, nothing there. I don't think I made any changes. Let's go ahead and do update. Yeah, my beautiful Git history.
Functions describe the
Thank you for the follow.
world.
Appreciate you, Moza. All right, so we know in our pub sub, we have a subscriber for song queue request. So what happens when this runs, right? So we come in here, we start our process, we get messages from our pub sub, then we publish we get our song queue. Track, requester, display name. Oh, it's a list, right? And we publish the song queue. So what does this become? Just a tag of a song request. Oh no, it has to come from song request. There we go. This is the one I'm looking at. What up, Ethan? So we get this message. I'm doing well. Yeah, I have persistence tech support. I wonder if they changed. Yeah, I mean, you might have to do the wiring up yourself, but yeah, I feel like you could probably wire it up. Okay. So we're definitely hitting this. I wonder if this right here is what's wrong. So, okay. We just restarted the server. Machine app has a volume mounted, but app config does not spot. Remove the volume. Yeah, so we'll do fly volumes destroy. Yeah. Yeah. How do I kill the machine? This is so dumb. I want to delete. Hmm. What? volume name. Oh, I need to give the volume name. Right. It is Nick's timer. Nick's timer. This is so dumb. Volume name, Nick's underscore timer. Dash dash app is app. I just want to destroy it. This is so dumb. Fly machine. Fly machines destroy. Dash dash force. Okay. Good Lord. All right, I should have nothing on here now. I should have no machines. Yeah. And we should have no volumes, which it's scheduling destroy. That's fine. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to run this locally here to debug, which this is going to break the UI, but we should be able to request songs now. So let's try that. How did we break this so bad? So the original error comes from the song request subscriber. Unexpected identifier QS31. Where the hell did that even come from? QS31? Unexpected identifier, UBG. That came from... I don't even see where that ID is from. I actually am betting it's an error with this. Oh, you think it's an error from Twitch? RH. Like, I just don't even see where that ID would come from. So in here, that just added this. Childish Gambino. So it like got queued, which is the weirdest part. Nobody gives a fuck. Double queued. Goldfinger. Double queued. Mine again. Rated. Indicated. What in the world is happening? Okay, we can work through this. Send. We want to. It starts in Twitch, right? So we have this event subscriber in here. We have this. We'll get in here. My sweet Lithonia. See you, wizard. Oh, we're not in an event. Right. All right, so here's our event. Oh, they do this stupid... I wonder if we got like rate limited somewhere. Stupid. I did add something, actually. Now that I'm thinking of this. Where did I put this? Did I put it in here? No, none there. Yeah, I bet you're right. All right, y'all. I gotta wrap up anyways. It's after 10. I gotta get to work. We'll figure this out tomorrow. Let's go find somebody to raid. Got Alicia. We got Kristoff. We got Prime. Let's see here. Kites. We'll raid Kites. I haven't raided Kites before. I'll actually be speaking with Kites at React Alicante in the fall. All right, y'all. We'll catch you tomorrow.